Community members and honored guests, good morning and welcome to Freedom Memorial. Today, we gather to salute the men and women who bravely serve our country. Bravely serve our country so that we can enjoy all the privileges America has to offer. Let's begin by giving a big thanks to all the veterans in our audience. Please. Words are not enough to adequately express our appreciation. We are proud to honor you and your brothers and sisters at home and overseas. Earlier this morning, just a few minutes ago, we recognized wounded warrior and retired Army Specialist Roger Higgins, who served in Vietnam, where he was exposed to Agent Orange. Mr. Higgins is the first veteran to use our special reserved combat wounded parking, and we are pleased to provide this small token of our appreciation for his service and sacrifice. This space and others in the near future will be available to any veteran injured in the line of duty. We want to thank him and many, many more. There are so many ways to express our gratitude for soldiers and their families. The Green Light, a Veteran campaign inspires citizens across the nation to demonstrate visible support by replacing a light in their home with a green bulb. We have quite a few available at the table next to the refreshment booths. Please take one with you today and let it light up Norwalk. The city has also reinstated the Hometown Heroes program, which recognizes active duty military, guard, and reservists through the display of a personalized banners along Imperial Highway. And on Tuesday, City Council and I approved a resolution establishing the Pets for Troops program, which offers animals adoption for veterans and active duty members completely free of charge, including obedience training. We encourage servicemen and women to take advantage of all these free services and many more. They are a way of showing our respect and gratitude for your commitment and selflessness. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join me for the presentation of colors by the American Legion and Public Safety Cadet Combined Color Guard, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Bradley Shoup of the Sons of the American Legion, and our national anthem forward by the Norwalk All-City Band. Please present colors. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Please uncover.
Right. Peace. Forward. March.
Our Heavenly Father, we come humbly before you, asking your blessing upon this gathering. Certainly, this is the day which the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Amen. Cover.
Please be seated. At this time, Janie Gonzalez of Post 359, Junior Auxiliary, will present the POW MII ceremony.
Those who have served and those currently serving the United States as members of the uniformed services, as civil servants, and as the contractors, are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been taunted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. We are compelled to never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are others who have endured and may still be enduring the agonies of pain, deprivation, and internment. Let us take a moment to recognize our POWs and MIAs. Thank you. We call your time to this small table which occupies a place of dignity and honor. It is set for one, symbolizing the fact that some are missing from our ranks. They are referred to as POAs and MIAs. POWs and MIAs. We call them comrades. They are unable to be with their loved ones and families today, so we join together to pay our humble tribute to them and bear witness to their continued absence. This table set for one is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his or her suppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single red rose in the vase signifies the blood that many have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. This sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. This rose also reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep the faith while awaiting their return. The yellow ribbon on the vase represents the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of the thousands who demand, with unyielding determination, a proper accounting of our comrades who are not among us today. A slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of their bitter fate. The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us at this time. The chair is empty. They are not here. The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors, to the open arms of a grateful nation. Let us pray to the Supreme Commander that all of our comrades will soon be back within our ranks. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifices. May God forever watch over them and protect them and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. What a powerful remembrance of those who could not return home. Let's take a moment of silence for both family and friends of MIA and POW soldiers who have also made enormous sacrifices. Thank you. Veterans, friends, and families gathered today, I'd like to introduce my colleagues. Vice Mayor Leonard Shryock. Let's give him a big hand. Council members Tony Ayala. Councilmember Jennifer Perez. Councilmember Margarita Rios. And joining us today is Interim City Manager Jim Parker and his lovely wife. We also have some very special guests in our audience today. Please welcome Congresswoman Linda Sanchez. We'll be hearing a message from the Congresswoman in a few moments. We also are pleased to have State Senator Tony Mendoza with us today. Tony? He's wearing a hat. He don't want to get his head burned. Please say good morning to Norwalk-La Mirada Unified School District Board Member Darrell Adams and Little Lake City School District Board Member Dora Sandoval. Let's also give a hand to former mayors Bob Arthur, Sherry Kelly, Gordon Steffenhagen, and Marcel Rodardi. Mr. Rodardi currently serves on the LA County Veterans Advisory Board. Let's give him a big hand. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event could not take place without the help of the American Legion Post 359. I'm going to ask Ladies Auxiliary President Becky, come on. Becky Bullard to introduce the post-service groups. Please, Becky.
Good morning, honored veterans, ladies, gentlemen, and special guests. First of all, it's my honor to introduce the color guards and officers of our Legion family to you today. For the Legion is Post Commander Floyd White, Sergeant at Arms and dual member of the Legion and Auxiliary Melissa Romo Breakoff, Chaplain Al Andrian, E-Board David Terraza, and Finance Officer William Breakoff. For the Sons of the American Legion, Commander Bradley Scoop, Bar Manager Jer Evans, and Richard Lochner. The Auxiliary is Secretary Francis Powell, E-Board Crystal Roma Reyes, E-Board Dolores Scoop, and I don't know whether she's here today or not, but we have a past president, Angelina Chavez. For our juniors, which is our next generation coming up, we have the Vice President, Janine Gonzalez, the Second Vice President, Miranda Mendita, Secretary-Treasurer, Caitlin White, Chaplain, Mia Mendita, Sergeant at Arms, Jocelyn Guerrero, and Marcel Gracie Franco. These men and women not only serve and support the veterans, but the city and the local schools as well. I have a poem today that I would like to read that pretty well covers the veterans past, present, and future. It's called The Noble and the Brave. A Veterans Day tribute. When American has an urgent need, the brave ones raise a hand. No hesitation held them back. They were proud to take a stand. They left their family and their friends. They gave up normal life. To serve their country and their God, they plowed into the strife. They fought for freedom and for peace on strange and foreign shores. Some lost new friends, some lost their lives in the long and brutal wars. Our veterans answered a call to support the ones who fought. Their country had requirements for the essential skills they brought. We salute every one of them today, the noble and the brave, the ones still with us here today, and the ones who rest in a grave. So here's to our country's heroes. They're a cut above the rest. They gave the honor that is due to our country's very best. Thank you for your service, all of you. If you don't believe freedom isn't free, ask a veteran. He knows firsthand. Now, can I have everyone in the American Legion and the VFW please stand? Now, All veterans stand. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your service everywhere.
And now, join us as we pay tribute to all branches of military during the service medley. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, all city band. Let's give them and Director Frank Hinojos a big round of applause. I love that beard. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker on this special day is Congresswoman Linda T. Sanchez. Linda, who has served in the United States House of Representatives for 14 years, currently represents the 38th District of California, which includes Norwalk, Santa Fe Springs, Bellflower, and La Mirada, among many other communities. Cerritos, too. She devoted much of her service to increasing opportunities for working families and small businesses and veterans. We are honored to have her with us today. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Linda Sanchez.
Good morning, and what a glorious day we have to celebrate our veterans here in Southern California. You know, I'm always excited to get back to my district, and none more so than in the month of November, where here it is a balmy 70-something degrees, and in Washington overnight last night it was in the 20s. So we truly live in paradise. I want to thank the mayor and the city for inviting me to share this day with all of you. It is truly an honor to remember and thank our veterans. As you all know, Veterans Day is a national day of remembrance for all the men and women who have proudly worn the uniform of the United States of America. And I would ask all the veterans that are here with us today, just raise your hand so that we can say thank you again with gratitude for your service. Veterans are part of an unbroken chain of heroes that spans 2.5 centuries. They are heroes who bravely answered the call to service and fought to defend our shared American values. And whether you served proudly in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, or the Coast Guard, your sacrifices have made our country the symbol of freedom throughout the world. And today, we have a new generation of heroes who carries on that proud tradition of service. Our brave soldiers, sailors, airmen, and mariners are in our thoughts and prayers as they fulfill their service to our country and confront even new, more complex threats of the 21st century. Now, as our servicemen and women transition back to civilian life, we have made a sacred promise as a nation to provide care and support for both the visible but also the invisible wounds that they may bear when they come back. And we remain focused in the Congress to try to help make that transition back to civilian life a successful one. Now, people talk a lot about how divided Washington, D.C. is right now, but I can say that this year we have passed 9 separate veterans bills to try to help take care of our veterans, because that is truly a nonpartisan issue. We come together to try to honor their service. We overhauled, for example, the GI Bill so that veterans can receive a fully funded education at any public university in California, and we've also made those benefits transferable to family members. We're working right now to reduce the veterans' disability backlog and promote innovation to speed up the claims process so we can ensure that veterans have timely access to the benefits that they have earned. And, you know, when veterans come back stateside, they haven't just served their country while they've worn the uniform. I run into veterans every day in the cities and the district that I represent, and they give back to their communities in so many ways. Some through veteran service organizations, but not just that, through the Chamber of Commerce or volunteering, in Little League or for a homeless shelter. I see veterans giving of themselves every single day. So their service to their country doesn't end when they take the uniform off. I often see them doing great and outstanding work in their communities to help make the quality of living in those communities better for everyone. But as a keynote speech today, I wanted to focus on, and I'm sorry because I'm getting a little bit emotional already, but I wanted to focus on one veteran that I came to know when I was very new in my service in the Congress. Now, my husband and I, on both sides of our family, have members of our family that have served in World War II, in Korea, and in Vietnam. So we have a history of service on both sides of my family. But I have an 8-year-old son, and he's getting to that age where he asks a lot of questions. Those of you who are parents know that kids sometimes get to that point where they ask incessant questions. And so Joaquin has been asking me about Veterans Day today. He's been at several events. And I'm trying to raise him to be a child that has gratitude, that appreciates what is given to him. And that's a tough thing for parents in today's world, to teach their kids to be grateful for things that we kind of take for granted every day, right? So I start with the basic things. You should thank God for the roof that you have over your head, or the fact that we have enough to eat. But today I've been talking to him about freedom. I've been talking about how people stand up and volunteer to put themselves in harm's way to protect all the things that are wonderful about the United States of America, but in particular about our freedom, our ability to live in a democracy where we can have a say, where we have peaceful transfers of power every election cycle. And so I've been talking to him specifically a lot about veterans and what they give back to this country through their service. But there's one particular veteran that I met early in my career in Congress. I was a brand new member in my early 30s, and a gentleman made an appointment to come see me in my office, and his name was Jose Ramos. Now, he's from the city of Whittier, but he came to talk to me because he was a Vietnam veteran who struggled when he came back. He struggled with substance abuse and was able to finally kick that habit, but he helped other veterans get the help that they needed for, whether they needed to get their benefits or whether they needed health care, mental health care. He was really passionate about helping other veterans. But he came to me and he said, Linda, I served in Vietnam. And when I came home, people didn't thank us or welcome us back to this country. We were treated like pariahs. And nobody who wears a uniform should ever come back to that. And he's right. How ungrateful of us not to value their service and their sacrifice. So he had this idea for a piece of legislation, which was Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. And it's a very simple bill. What it just says is, to all those who served in Vietnam, welcome home. Very simple. Now, I'll tell you a little something about Jose. Jose was just as determined as they come, just would not give up. And so I introduced the bill in the House, and we worked to get co-sponsors and to try to get it passed. And that first year, we couldn't get enough people excited about the bill to schedule it for a floor vote. But undeterred, he began to work locally. First, he got cities to recognize a day of National Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day, and then he started to do it by states. So state of California recognized it, then the next day I believe was Connecticut, and on and on. So he went building this momentum, and he did something extraordinary. He did a bike ride across the United States from California all the way to Washington, D.C., and would stop along the way overnight and meet with veterans across the country to get them to sign petition cards saying that they would like to see Welcome Home Vietnam's Veterans Day be a national day of remembrance. He came to Washington, D.C. with boxes full of these petitions and dropped them off at my office. We then forwarded them on to the White House. And he was just tenacious and would not give up. And he felt so strongly in his bones that that was just a small measure of what we could do to say thank you. So it's tragic to say this, but Jose Ramos passed away earlier this year after a struggle with cancer. But his legacy continues, and I continue to fight to try to make that a national day where we honor and welcome home Vietnam veterans. And we've gotten a lot more traction in the Congress, and on the Senate side there's interest now. But I will continue to work on that, to honor his legacy and his hard work and his sacrifice on behalf of this country. Now, he's just one constituent that I happened to run into, and I'll tell you something funny that Jose told me not that long ago, so he didn't tell me this up front, but apparently at first he tried to meet with Congresswoman Grace Napolitano, and he couldn't get an appointment in her office right away, and he got impatient, and Jose was not a perfect man. He could be impatient from time to time. So he stood out in front of her office on the street with a big signboard that said, Congresswoman Napolitano refuses to meet with veterans. Which, when he stood out there, they brought him into the office, and it was then that he discovered that Congresswoman Napolitano wasn't, in fact, his member of Congress. It was me, which is how he ultimately came to my office in the first place. But really just determined, and that tells you what his spirit was like. But I meet so many people in my district that are just doing extraordinary things, and I get a really great perspective just by sitting and listening with them and hearing their stories. And another story that I'm just briefly going to tell you, because I know it's warm out here, but John Kelsall used to run the Lakewood Chamber of Commerce, and his son Jonas was killed. His son Jonas was a Navy SEAL, was killed in Afghanistan. And so John started this project, this nonprofit called the Jonas Project, which helps veterans that are coming back start their own businesses, people who are entrepreneurial and want to start their own businesses, and it helps give them mentorship from other businesses and financial help so that they can realize this dream of owning their own business. And because he told me stories of veterans that would or service members that would return, and their credit would just be shot because while they were away on active duty, something happened and negative reporting was put onto their credit scores without them being able to explain it or contact the credit card companies because they're deployed, right? They're fighting for their lives, and they can't be on the computer fighting with credit card companies about their credit scores. So he helped me, gave me the idea for a piece of legislation to say that while our men and women are fighting overseas on active duty, they cannot have negative credit information reported on their credit so that when they get back, they don't have that whole obstacle to deal with when they come back and try to get a loan to start a business or to buy a home. And that's just one small measure of what we can do to try to help protect our service members while they're out in the world trying to protect us. So I just want to say, I'm pleased to see so many people here. You are showing your gratitude for men and women that sacrifice so much for us. And not just them, but their families as well. Families sacrifice a lot when their loved ones serve. So to all the families, I want to say thank you for loaning us your loved one and for supporting them through good times and bad. It makes a difference. I just want folks to know that in my office, we do a lot to try to help veterans who have problems with federal agencies. So if you or someone you know is experiencing problems with the VA or the IRS or any federal agency, please have them come to our office. We really go to bat and advocate for our veterans. We try to make sure that they receive the benefits that they've earned. We've been successful in making sure that people receive the medals that they earned or the commendations that they've earned that perhaps over time they've forgotten about or never received. So I want you to know that we remain dedicated to helping fulfill that sacred promise that we've made to men and women who serve, that we will do everything within our power when you come back to treat you like the hero that you are. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
I personally want to thank Linda. We've had two great congresswomen serve in our district in the city of Norwalk. They've both been there for us. Linda's been there for us every time we've asked, every time. And what makes me feel so good is she continues to push veterans programs in not only in our city, but throughout the country. Leaders like that are not just everywhere. They're special. I want to give her a big round of applause. Mr. Mendoza, would you like to say a few words? Just a few now. Just two. Hey, he took his hat off.
No, I will not overshadow that great speech. Thank you, Congresswoman. You did a great job. Thank you for what you do for us in in D.C., because it's a tough environment. Thank you so much. I just want to take a moment to, again, thank all the veterans, having had brothers who served in the Marines, have nephews and nieces who are currently serving. I know what trauma and what the experience the families get to go through and worry about their loved ones, and thank you all for your service. I really want to come over here and present the certificate to our mayor and the city council, because they've taken time to bring us all together and let us celebrate and recognize our veterans, and it takes a lot of effort. And I want to thank the staff, all the public safety, everybody that put this event together. But again, Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you so much for taking time and making this event a great event for our community. Thank you. I'll present it to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tony. Now, as we close our ceremony, I'll ask you to stand for God Bless America, followed by the benediction and the retiring of colors.
And cover, please. Be gracious unto us, O God, and bless us as we depart from this flesh. Stretch us forth your protection and guard our country, that we, being devoted to your service, may ever be depended by your power. Amen. Cover.
March! Time! March! Clear! Hold! Right! Peace! Sir! Good! Ready? Sir! Right! Peace! Forward! March! Clear! Hold! Dismiss!
want to thank one and all for being here today. We appreciate you in each and every day of our lives. To our veterans, we would not be here if it was not for you. I wish to conclude with God bless the United States of America and God bless every one of you. Thank you.